Imagine being born into one of the most powerful and feared families in the world, only to have your life turned upside down by a single act of betrayal. This is the story of Raghad, Saddam Hussein's daughter, whose world shattered when her husband's defiance led to a brutal family reckoning. Let's dive right into her story. Raghad was born in Baghdad in 1968, growing up in an environment of both immense privilege and strict discipline. As the third child in a family that wielded absolute power, her early years were filled with the comforts of wealth. Yet even as a child, she knew the weight of loyalty and duty. Her father, Saddam Hussein, was not only the president of Iraq, but a man who believed that family honor was everything. Despite his harsh reputation on the world stage, Raghad recalled that at home he could be gentle, a father who shared simple moments like fishing trips and horseback rides with his children. These memories, however, would soon be challenged by the dark realities of political power. When it came time for marriage, the rules of the regime meant that alliances were made carefully. In a twist of fate, Raghad found herself presented with a choice. Unlike many arranged marriages of the time, her father allowed her to have a say in whom she married, on one condition, that he approved of the man. That man was Hussein Kamel, a high-ranking officer in Saddam's inner circle who served as a trusted escort and later became a key figure in the Republican Guard and the Ministry of Military Industries. Their connection was unexpected. Despite their young ages, a bond formed between them during family dinners and quiet moments together. Raghad, although still in middle school, chose Hussein Kamel, and their union symbolized both a personal connection and a strategic alliance within the regime. At first, their marriage seemed to offer a glimmer of hope. Raghad was determined not to let her circumstances define her entirely. Even though her husband believed that a wife should remain in the home, she fought hard for her right to education and eventually graduated, despite his objections. Their relationship, filled with both affection and tension, was marked by Hussein Kamel's deep love and possessiveness. Though their quarrels were sometimes resolved with laughter, the underlying strains hinted at the dark days to come. By 1995, the once solid foundation of their life began to crumble. Political tensions within the regime were rising, and Hussein Kamel's position started to become precarious. His growing influence and outspoken criticism of Saddam's inner circle led to whispers of treason. During a press conference on September 21, 1995, Hussein Kamel shocked the nation by publicly criticizing the inefficiencies of Saddam's government. He claimed that the president was surrounded by incompetent ministers whose mismanagement was causing the country to suffer. This bold move was seen as an act of betrayal, not only against Saddam's regime but against the very family that had long been considered untouchable. For Raghad, watching her husband speak against her father on live television was nothing short of a nightmare. She had always admired Saddam Hussein, viewing him as a protective figure and the ultimate symbol of strength. Yet, in that moment, the man she had married was branded a traitor. Rumors spread quickly, and before long the decision was made. For the sake of family honor and political stability, Hussein Kamel had to be punished. In early 1996, the unthinkable happened. Despite the deep personal ties that once bound them, Saddam Hussein decided that no act of defiance, regardless of the relationship, could go unanswered. Hussein Kamel, along with his own brother, who had accompanied him on the fateful return to Iraq, was executed on February 23, 1996. Accounts of the execution vary. Some say the men were caught in a staged firefight, while others suggest they were lured into a trap in a supposed safe house. What remains clear is that this was not a mere political maneuver. It was a message carved in blood. Even being the father of Saddam's grandchildren offered no protection from his wrath. Raghad was devastated. At just 25 years old, now a young widow and mother of 5, she was forced to endure the unthinkable loss. Despite the heartbreak and the betrayal that came with her husband's execution, Raghad never turned her back on her father. She understood on some level that in Saddam's world of unyielding power and honor, decisions were made for reasons far beyond personal grief. For her, the execution was a painful reminder of the unbreakable loyalty demanded by her family, a loyalty that transcended individual feelings and personal happiness. Following the execution, the fallout was immediate. Raghad and her family were caught in the middle of an internal power struggle. In 1997, suspicions of treachery within the family led to further isolation, with Raghad and her sister Ra'ana placed under house arrest by their own brother, Uday Hussein. Accusations flew about potential plots against the regime, deepening the sense of betrayal and mistrust within the family. Despite these challenges, Raghad's devotion to her father remained steadfast. She would later describe her loyalty as absolute, an unyielding bond that even the harshest of decisions could not break. As the years passed, the political landscape of Iraq continued to change dramatically. The US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003 marked the end of Saddam Hussein's reign, and the once mighty family found themselves in exile. Raghad, along with her 5 children and her sisters, sought refuge in Jordan, a land that welcomed them with open arms, but where they were also seen as remnants of a bygone era. Living in exile was a harsh reality for someone who had known only luxury and power, yet it was a reality that forced Raghad to adapt to a new world far removed from the grandeur of Baghdad. Even in exile, the legacy of Saddam Hussein loomed large. In 2006, as the world watched Saddam's trial and eventual execution for crimes against humanity, Raghad and her family experienced a profound loss. They saw their father, once a revered and feared leader, face the consequences of his rule. Yet, in her own words, Raghad maintained that her father had died an honorable death. For her, the actions he took, even the brutal execution of her husband, were part of a code of honor that defined their family's identity. In the aftermath, Raghad took on an unexpected role. With her father gone, she became the unofficial head of the Hussein family clan, a defender of his legacy. Determined to preserve his memory and the honor of her family, she invested everything in protecting the name that had defined her entire life. She even hired top lawyers to represent Saddam during his trial and went to great lengths to ensure that his final wishes were respected, including arranging for his body to be temporarily buried in Yemen until political tensions eased. Raghad's life in exile was marked by contrasts. On one hand, she was a symbol of unwavering loyalty, a woman who never renounced her father despite all the personal losses. On the other hand, she built a life filled with opulence and luxury. Residing under the protection of the Jordanian government, she and her children lived in a world of high fashion, exclusive clubs, and designer labels. Over time, her lavish lifestyle and strong political connections continued to spark controversy and speculation. Rumors swirled about the sources of her wealth, and even allegations emerged about funding links to extremist groups, claims she has always denied. As years went by, the next generation began to step into the spotlight. Raghad's daughter, Harir Hussein Kamel, emerged as a well-known socialite, gracing the pages of society magazines and being seen at some of the most exclusive events in the Middle East. Despite the fall of Saddam's regime, the Hussein family's influence still lingered in unexpected ways, blending the remnants of old power with the glitz of modern celebrity. Raghad's story is a complex tapestry of power, loyalty, betrayal, and survival. It's a story of a daughter torn between her love for her father and the personal tragedy of losing her husband, a tragedy that forever altered the course of her life. Through it all, she remained committed to the legacy of the man who ruled with an iron fist, believing that honor and loyalty were worth any sacrifice. If you found this story as gripping as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales. Let us know in the comments what you think about the fate of those born into power. Thank you for watching.